Dylan Vance, Victoria's childhood friend, posted a picture on his Instagram story. It was a sleek, insulated tumbler with steam gently rising from the herbal tonic inside. The caption read, "There's nothing better than a custom wellness tonic from your childhood sweetheart when you're feeling under the weather. So blessed." The comments section was already blowing up with cutesy emojis and teasing. I recognized the tumbler, and I damn well recognized the tonic. Victoria has a severe stomach condition, and I'm the one who brewed that special formula for her. Just as I was scrolling through the comments, I saw one from Victoria herself. She almost never posts. It was a gif of a Coke can dancing, captioned, "My long-lost happy water." My teeth were grinding when Victoria's executive assistant called, her voice frantic. "Mr. Cole, Tori just collapsed. She was complaining about stomach pains, and then she just passed out. I can't find the tonic you always prepare for her." "Call 911, I said, my voice ice cold. "Tell them to take her to Northwood Elementary." The elementary school? But her medication, her emergency medication, is in the hands of Dylan Vance. "Make sure you tell the paramedics that the man who saved her life is waiting for her there." When Victoria's assistant called, I was staring at that infuriating picture on my phone. Dylan Vance, showing off a high-end tumbler filled with the custom-brewed wellness tonic I'd stayed up until 2 in the morning preparing for my wife. It was a complex blend of over a dozen rare herbs. The wild ginseng and ashwagandha root alone cost a small fortune. I had spent months researching ancient herbal remedies, all to soothe the stomach she'd wrecked from years of corporate dinners and stress. And what does she do? She hands it over to Dylan Vance, then goes and chugs a Coke. "Mr. Cole, Tori's in agony. She's drenched in sweat," her assistant said, sounding close to tears. "I've torn her office apart, but I can't find the tonic anywhere." I let out a cold, humorless laugh. Of course she couldn't find it. It was busy nourishing Dylan Vance's ungrateful gut while my wife was paying the price for her happy water. Suddenly, the assistant gasped. "Mr. Cole, she's unconscious." "What do I do? Passed out?" "Call 911. Tell them to take her to Northwood Elementary." I repeated, my tone flat. "What? Northwood Elementary?" "But her condition is serious. The hospital. Her emergency medication is with Dylan Vance. Let him take good care of his childhood sweetheart." I spoke slowly and deliberately. "And make sure you tell the paramedics that the man who saved her life is waiting for her there." Before the assistant could argue, I hung up. "Victoria, Victoria, Victoria. If you miss your happy water so much, then you can drown in it." I immediately texted my brother-in-law, "Leo, your sister had another stomach flare-up trying to impress Dylan. The ambulance is on its way to your school. The show's about to start." Leo replied instantly, "LOL, she deserves it. I'm grabbing a front row seat. I'll even record it for your Instagram story." Next, I opened my browser and found the nearest Costco. I placed an order for 100 cases of Coca-Cola. Delivery address, Northwood Elementary School. If Victoria was so nostalgic for the good old days, so desperate to relive her past, I was more than happy to help. 100 cases of Coke should be enough to keep her reminiscing well into the next life. 30 minutes later, I walked through the gates of the school. I could see the ambulance parked by the main building, a crowd of teachers and students gathering around. I walked straight into the throng and saw Victoria leaning against Dylan, her face as white as a sheet, a sheen of cold sweat on her forehead. Dylan was trying to get her to sip some water, his face a perfect mask of concerned affection. He looked so deeply in love, it was almost enough to make a bystander tear up. "Tori, how are you feeling?" "A little better." Dylan's voice was pure, gentle sympathy. "Victoria Nadir Guikri. Thank God you were here. I don't know what I would have done." I watched their little melodrama unfold until the Costco delivery truck rumbled onto the campus. "Got 100 cases of Coke here. What do you want, Em?" the driver yelled. Every head in the crowd snapped toward the truck. "Isantered over. Just drop the pallet right here. We're passing them out. A free Coke for everyone, so you can all get a taste of this happy water." When Victoria saw me, her face went from pale to ghostly. "Ethan, what are you doing?" she hissed, trying and failing to stand up straight. "I heard you were craving your happy water, so I figured I'd stock you up," I said with a broad, cheerful smile. "You said it's been a while, so drink up, and we can let the whole school witness just how deep Mrs. Logan's passion for soda really runs." 2. Dylan's face turned a shade of crimson. The crowd started whispering, and more than a few people had their phones out, recording. Leo pushed his way to the front, a look of pure, unadulterated glee on his face. "Mr. Cole, is this really necessary?" Victoria's assistant stammered, trying to intervene. "What's not necessary?" I shot back. My wife was missing her favorite drink. As a devoted husband, I'm simply fulfilling her wish. Victoria was shaking with rage. "Are you insane? Making a scene like this at school? How am I supposed to face anyone after this?" "Face anyone?" I chuckled. "Victoria, after the stunt you pulled, making yourself sick for another man, you're still worried about saving face?" She opened her mouth, but no words came out. I turned and walked away, the buzz of gossip following me. "Wait, she's married. Then what's the deal with Mr. Vance?" "Yeah, what was that all about with the teacher? Happy water. Is that like an inside joke?" Later that evening, an ecstatic Leo called to invite me to dinner. The second I walked into the restaurant, he rushed over. "Ethan, you were a legend today. You should have seen Dylan's face. It was greener than a week-old salad." He handed me his phone, which was filled with screenshots and audio files. Just like you asked, I gathered all the evidence of their little affair from the past year. Late-night texts, movie ticket stubs from when they went alone, and this, the Rolex she bought him for his birthday last month. 80 grand. I scrolled through the text messages, each one turning my stomach. "Tired from work today, Dylan? Get some rest. It's so rare to meet a guy as gentle as you. Knowing you care makes even the longest days at work worth it." He actually saved these? I sneered. "Probably thought they were mementos of their epic love story," Leo said, rolling his eyes. "Oh, and I got the audio of him bragging about how he stole my ex-girlfriend. He used the same playbook back then. Mr. Nice Guy on the surface, manipulative snake underneath." I compiled all the evidence and sent it straight to Victoria. Less than 5 minutes later, my phone rang. "Ethan, listen, I can explain. That's just normal friendly concern. I only see him as a little brother." "A little brother?" My voice was cold enough to freeze water. "Funny, I don't see you showing Leo this much concern. Did you ever buy your actual brother an $80,000 watch? I work myself to the bone for your sake, staying up all night to brew that tonic for your health. Have you ever once asked me if I was tired?" The other end of the line was silent. I hung up and turned to Leo. "Come on, we're going to your sister's office to settle this in person." At the Logan Innovations headquarters, we took the elevator straight to the CEO's office. Victoria was in the middle of a video conference. When she saw us, her face went white, and she quickly ended the call. I tossed my phone on her desk. "Victoria, how do you explain these texts? And this movie ticket? Last Thursday, while I was on a business trip, you two went to see Titanic. How romantic." She stared at the evidence on the screen, sweat beading on her forehead. Leo stepped in. "Hey, sis, remember what you told me when Dylan stole my girlfriend? You told me to be the bigger person, that these things are mutual and I shouldn't get hung up on it. Well, now it's your turn. So I'm telling you to be the bigger person. Don't get hung up on Ethan's little temper tantrum. I really just see him as a friend. I never had any other intentions." "Victoria está merez." I laughed coldly. "Oh, your intentions are simple, all right. You just want to have it both ways. You want to enjoy the flirty attention from your childhood flame, but you can't bear to give up the care and support of your husband. Who do you think you are, Victoria? A queen. Stop daydreaming." Victoria's face flushed with anger, but she couldn't get a word in. "Let me be more direct. You're addicted to his gentle, gentlemanly act. You love the worshipful way he looks at you. But you can't afford to lose my shares in this company, my tech, or my meticulous care for that wrecked stomach of yours. You want to play the saint and the sinner at the same time? Life doesn't work that way." She was speechless, unable to form a single rebuttal. "You know what the most disgusting part is?" I stood up, looming over her. "You know you're guilty, but you still play the innocent victim. You're reveling in this emotional affair while calling it a pure friendship. Do you think the rest of the world is stupid, and you're the only smart one here?" "Victoria, I'm going to ask you one last time." I stared directly into her eyes. "Either you cut off all contact with Dylan Vance, or we get a divorce. You choose." She just stared, her mouth agape, unable to speak. I turned to leave, pausing at the door. "By the way, a little reminder. Without my tonic recipe, that stomach of yours won't last 2 weeks." You might want to lay off the happy water. Back at our house, I went straight upstairs and started packing. Victoria got home half an hour later and found me in the bedroom, pulling clothes from the closet. Ethan, what are you doing? Her voice was laced with panic. I'm moving back to my place, I said without looking up. You clearly don't need me. Your precious childhood friend can take care of you. Can you stop being so dramatic? I've explained it a dozen times. There's nothing going on between me and Dylan. She shot back, her voice rising with frustration. Nothing. I stopped what I was doing and turned to face her. Then explain why you deleted your text conversations. Explain why you lied about meeting him alone. If there was nothing going on, why were you so afraid of me finding out? Victoria was cornered, her expression turning ugly. You just don't trust me, she finally exploded. 3 years of marriage, and this is what you think of me? I'm nice to someone, and you immediately assume I'm cheating. With that, she stormed into the living room, grabbed our wedding photo off the wall, and started smashing the frame, tearing at the picture. If you don't trust me, then what's the point of keeping this garbage? Rip. The photo was torn in half. Still not satisfied, she began ripping up every other picture of us she could find, screaming, You don't love me. Someone who truly loved me would trust me unconditionally. I watched her melt down in silence. When she was finished, standing in a sea of shredded memories, I spoke, my voice chillingly calm. Thank you, Victoria, for showing me your true colors. My voice was terrifyingly steady. Does a truly innocent person destroy her wedding photos just because she's been questioned? She froze, staring at the wreckage on the floor as if just realizing what she'd done. Your actions just gave me my answer. I grabbed my suitcase and walked toward the door. Victoria, I am now officially informing you. I want a divorce. No, I don't agree, she shrieked, her face draining of all color. You don't agree? I laughed. You think you have a choice. I pulled out my phone and opened a folder. I have all the evidence of your affair right here, plus a video of what you just did. How do you think a judge is going to see this? Victoria lunged for my arm. Ethan, I was just upset. I didn't mean it. I slapped her across the face. The sharp crack echoed through the room. Don't touch me, Victoria. You're disgusting. I shook her hand off me. You reek of another man. It makes me sick. She clutched her cheek, staring at me in disbelief. I slapped her again on the other side. That one was for your brother. When Dylan screwed him over, you told him to be the bigger person. Now it's your turn. Be the bigger person. She raised her hand as if to strike back, but let it fall. She knew she had no right. More importantly, she knew that without my shares in my technology, Logan Innovations would be bankrupt within 6 months. Remember this feeling, Victoria, I said, looking at her reddening cheeks, feeling a sense of clarity I hadn't felt in years. The moment you chose to betray me, you lost me. It's too late for regrets. I wheeled my suitcase out the door. Ethan, where are you going? She cried, following me. Back to my parents' house. I didn't look back. When you're ready to sign the divorce papers, you know where to find me. And just so you know, my patience has a limit. For the day after I moved back home, I got a call from our friend Mark Peterson. It had been a while, he said, and the old group should get together. The guest list he sent over was a who's who of mine and Victoria's mutual friends. I knew he was playing mediator, so I told Leo to come along. At 6 o'clock, Leo and I arrived at a private club downtown. A few people were already in our reserved room. Mark, Chris Wright, and a married couple, Rachel and Ryan Lee. We'd known them all for years. They all knew Dylan. Ethan, I heard you and Tori are having some problems? Mark asked, his tone full of concern. It's about Dylan, right? Is it really worth fighting this much over? Chris added, we all grew up with the guy. Maybe they're just a little close. I'm sure you're overthinking it. For Tori, it's just like he's a brother. Yeah, exactly, Rachel chimed in. We all know Tori. She would never cheat on you. You're probably just reading too much into it, Ethan. I smiled placidly. You're right, it's no big deal. Thanks for coming out, everyone. Let's eat first. We can talk while we eat. Seeing me so relaxed, they all visibly eased up and started ordering dinner. While we waited for the food, I turned to Rachel. Hey, I saw you at the Rolex store the other day buying that gorgeous watch. How come I haven't seen Ryan wearing it? Rachel looked baffled. What watch? When was I at a Rolex store? Beside her, her husband Ryan's face hardened. He glared at her. Rachel, when were you at Rolex? Who were you buying a watch for? I wasn't. I swear. Rachel was starting to sweat. Ethan, You must have mistaken me for someone else. Just then, Leo piped up. Hey, Mark. Rachel was telling me you two went to see Titanic last week. How was it? Mark's eyes went wide. What are you talking about? What did I ever say that? Rachel and I have never seen a movie together. Ryan completely lost it. Rachel, you went to the movies with Mark? What the hell is going on between you two? Nothing. Nothing. Rachel and Mark said in unison. We're just friends, I swear. Just friends go on secret movie dates? Just friends lie about buying luxury watches behind my back. Ryan's voice was getting shrill. The room descended into chaos. Rachel was desperately trying to explain. Ryan was firing off accusations, and Mark was practically jumping out of his skin with panic. Leo and I exchanged a look. I calmly spoke over the noise. My apologies, everyone. I misspoke. Rachel never won a Rolex, and Mark never saw a movie with her. I made it all up. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at me, dumbfounded. I just wanted you all to experience, for just a moment, how you would feel if your spouse was sneaking around behind your back, getting a little too cozy with someone else. I picked up my teacup and took a slow sip. The rage Ryan felt just now while questioning Rachel, that's exactly how I feel. But there's one key difference, Leo said, holding up his phone. What I said was fake. But what my sister did with Dylan, this is all real. The screen showed a text message. Miss you. Too bad Ethan's home. Below was a photo of the Titanic movie ticket stubs. From last Thursday. Ryan was the first to explode. That's like a brother. This is a full-blown emotional affair. She's cheating. That's unbelievable, Chris said, his face flush with anger. And here we were defending her. We were completely blind. Mark was even more furious. This is the worst kind of betrayal. She wants all the benefits of marriage while playing games on the side. Rachel frowned. This is completely out of line. Ethan, you can't let this slide. If you give in on this, it'll never stop. I watched as my friends seamlessly transitioned from mediators to my staunchest allies. For the first time in days, I felt a sense of relief. And that's why I gave Victoria an ultimatum. I said, either she cuts Dylan out of her life completely, or we're getting a divorce. They all spoke as one. Divorce her. Don't let her get away with this. 5 the next morning, I was helping my mom in the garden when Leo came running over, looking frantic. Ethan, you have to see Dylan's latest Instagram post, he said, shoving his phone in my face, his cheeks red with anger. I took the phone and saw a picture of Dylan in a classroom, ostensibly preparing a lesson plan. The caption was a masterclass in passive aggression. Some people just love to create drama out of thin air. The truth always comes to light. Best to just be a good person and not let your own insecurities hurt innocent people. And a follow-up comment from himself. Grateful for the people who truly care about me and for the experiences that help me grow. Some people's negativity will only make me stronger. Is he implying we're the ones spreading lies? That we're attacking him? Leo was practically pulling his hair out. The nerve of this guy. He's the one doing shady stuff, and he turns around and plays the victim. I scrolled through Dylan's feed and saw he'd also shared a schmaltzy article titled, When Kindness Meets Malice. This guy's a real piece of work, I said with a cold smile. If he wants to play the innocent victim, then let's give him a taste of what real innocence feels like. I got on my phone and had my assistant arrange a corporate donation to Northwood Elementary. She asked if I wanted to specify what the donation should be. Yes, I said, smiling. Let's give every teacher a custom engraved, insulated tumbler. Oh, and have them engraved with the words, stay away from happy water, drink your childhood sweetheart's wellness tonic. When I hung up, Leo was doubled over with laughter. Ethan, that's genius. I'm heading to the school right now to help set the stage. The following afternoon, every single staff member at Northwood Elementary received their special gift. Leo posted a picture of his in the school's group chat, captioning it, a huge thank you to our generous corporate sponsor. Seeing Childhood Sweetheart's Wellness Tonic on here reminds me of a meme I saw going around recently. If you know, you know. It didn't take long for the whispers to start. Wellness Tonic. Isn't that what Mr. Vance posted about the other day? What does the childhood sweetheart part mean? Oh, I heard Mr. Vance telling someone that the woman who fainted here, the one who loves Coke, was a childhood sweetheart. This donation is weirdly specific. Is it aimed at Mr. Vance? Leo seized the opportunity in the teacher's lounge, pretending to defend Dylan. Guys, it's really not a big deal between Dylan and my sister. They're just close. You know, she occasionally buys him watches worth tens of thousands of dollars. They text all the time, see movies together, checking on each other. That's it. That's it, a teacher nearby said with a knowing smirk. Soon, the entire school was buzzing with the story of Dylan Vance's glorious deeds. People started pointing and whispering whenever he walked by. He couldn't go anywhere without hearing snippets of conversation. So that's him. No wonder his posts have been so melodramatic lately. That's the worst kind of person, breaking up a marriage and then playing innocent. I'm staying far away from him. Can't trust a guy like that. Leo even used the opportunity to dig up more dirt on Dylan. He was known for taking credit for other teachers' work, blaming his mistakes on colleagues, and sucking up to the administration. That evening, Leo texted me, ecstatic. Ethan, Dylan looked like he was going to be sick all day. The entire school knows what a scumbag he is now. I checked Dylan's Instagram. All of his passive-aggressive posts have been deleted. A week later, Victoria contacted me. Ethan, can we talk? She said, her voice sounding utterly exhausted. I've done a lot of thinking. Oh, and what have you decided? That you're all in with your childhood sweetheart now? I asked coldly. No, I've decided to cut off all contact with Dylan, she said quietly. Ethan, can we start over? I promise this time I will never speak to him again. A promise? I scoffed. Victoria, what is your promise even worth? I'm serious. I've thought it all through. To me, he really is just a friend. She explained, her voice desperate. I was silent for a few seconds before answering flatly. It's too late. Ethan, I know I messed up. I know I let you misunderstand, but our relationship. Victoria, I cut her off. I once loved you. I loved you so much I would have done anything for you. Your career, your health, everything about you. I made it my priority. But when you were sneaking around with another man, everything I did for you started to feel like a joke. You say you'd do anything for me, but you couldn't tolerate me having a friend? You can't even handle me being close to one male friend? Victoria shot back, still trying to justify her actions. Her denial made my blood run cold. Even now, you're still trying to hide your emotional affair behind the excuse of a close male friend. Fina, let's meet this afternoon. I've invited both our parents. We're going to lay everything out on the table. I don't want to get divorced only to have people whispering behind my back for years to come. Victoria was silent for a long time. Finally, she asked, do you have to be so relentless? Do you have to burn everything to the ground? Me? Or you? I sneered. Victoria, who was the one who chose betrayal? And who's the one playing the victim now? At 3 o'clock that afternoon, I picked up my parents and drove to the Logan's house. For people were waiting in the living room. Victoria's parents, Victoria, and Leo. I placed the folder I'd prepared on the coffee table. Mom, Dad, I said, looking at her parents, this will be the last time I call you that. In this folder is all the evidence of Victoria's relationship with Dylan Vance from the past year. Texts, bank transfers, photos. Mrs. Logan's hands trembled as she flipped through the pages, her face growing paler by the second. Miss you. Too bad Ethan's home. My daughter sent this, she whispered, looking at Victoria in disbelief. Victoria just stared at the floor, silent. Mr. Logan saw the $80,000 transfer for the watch and slammed his hand on the table. Are you out of your mind? Buying another man such an expensive gift behind your husband's back. My parents looked furious. My mother spoke first. Ethan, we support your decision to divorce her. This woman is not worth another second of your time. Victoria desperately tried to salvage the situation. Mom, Dylan and I, there's really nothing going on. Please convince Ethan to give me another chance. My father's face was like stone. You call him Dylan? How sweet. I notice you call your own brother by his full name, Leo Logan. My mother, always the softy, opened her mouth to say something. I cut her off. It's pointless. Nothing she says can cover up the fact that she had an emotional affair. Ethan, I didn't cheat. Victoria insisted, still trying to defend herself. I've told you so many times, I don't have romantic feelings for Dylan. And I'm supposed to believe you? You could present that argument in a court of law, but it's up to the judge to decide if you're credible. And right now, with me, your credibility is zero. So I don't believe your excuses. From an angle where his parents and sister couldn't see, Leo shot me a look of pure admiration. Victoria opened her mouth, then closed it again, defeated. Well, explain yourself. What were you thinking? Mrs. Logan was shaking with rage. How did I raise a daughter like you? You've been married for 3 years, and you're already pulling this kind of garbage. Leo added fuel to the fire. Mom, you don't even know the half of it. Dylan went on Instagram and accused Ethan of being a liar, of trying to slander him. He's the one who messed up, but he pointed the finger at Ethan. After reading through all the evidence, Mr. Logan let out a heavy sigh. Ethan, my daughter was in the wrong. But is there really no chance you could forgive her? I shook my head. Just as Victoria was about to plead her case again, my phone buzzed. It was an Instagram notification. Dylan had just posted a new photo. The caption read, "Thank you for the hug, my friend. It's a little bit of warmth in this cold, cruel world." The picture was of him and Victoria embracing right outside the school gates. It was a close, intimate hug. He had tagged her in the post. I passed my phone around for everyone to see. When Mrs. Logan saw the photo, her eyes rolled back, and she fainted. Mom! Victoria cried, rushing to her side. She looked up at me, panicked. It's not what it looks like. He was crying. I was just trying to comfort him. I watched the scene unfold, any last shred of affection I had for her dissolving into dust. She still didn't get it. For a married woman, crossing that boundary with another man was the mistake itself, no matter how noble the excuse. So much for Victoria's promises, I said, my voice flat. Didn't even last a single day. I stood up and grabbed my bag. I'm calling my lawyer tomorrow to draft the divorce papers. This marriage is over. With that, my parents and I walked out of the Logan house without looking back. Behind us, I could hear Victoria screaming my name. Ethan, let me explain. It's not what you think. But I was done with her explanations. After leaving the Logans, I went straight back to my parents' house. I stayed there for the next 6 months. Victoria tried to contact me countless times, but my parents always ran interference. Leo sent me regular updates, mostly complaining about his family. It was clear he was at his wit's end. Ethan, my sister's stomach problems are back. She was in the hospital for 3 days. Don't call me Ethan. From now on, call me by my name, or just bro. Got it, bro. He added a tongue-out emoji. Dylan is getting way closer to my sister now. He's even coming over for dinner all the time. My mom's attitude toward him has totally changed. She says he's generous and thoughtful, and knows how to take care of people. My dad thinks he's a good guy, too. I just smiled faintly when I read those texts. Of course, Victoria's stomach was acting up without my tonic recipe. And of course, Dylan would swoop in while she was sick, playing the part of the caring suitor to win over her parents. None of it mattered to me anymore. My mind was made up. The only reason I hadn't filed yet was to give our families a chance to negotiate terms privately, avoiding a public spectacle. But it seemed my attempt to be decent was being mistaken for weakness. Bro, my sister says she will absolutely not agree to a divorce. I replied, tell her I'm done being polite. I'm filing the papers. I don't need her agreement. The court will grant it. Leo replied a few minutes later. I confronted her, asked what her deal was. She's still insisting she only sees Dylan as a little brother, no romantic feelings whatsoever. 8. A wave of disgust washed over me as I read the message. Even now, she refused to admit to her own deceit. As a little brother, Victoria was a master of self-delusion. What was her excuse? I texted back, trying to keep my anger in check. She said Dylan was always sickly and frail growing up, so she just feels protective of him. She even said she feels the same way about him as she does about me. It's just a sibling thing. I almost threw up right there. Leo's next text read, I'm her brother. When has she ever texted me late at night, saying she missed me? When did she buy me an $80,000 watch? When has she ever taken me to a romantic movie? I told her straight up, Tori, if you ever treated me the way you treat Dylan, I'd call the cops and report you for incest. I couldn't help but laugh. Leo really came through when it counted. And what did she say to that? She was speechless. After a minute, she just said, Leo, how could you think that about your own sister? It was so gross. I took a deep breath and sent one last instruction to Leo. Tell Victoria that if she doesn't agree to the divorce, I'm severing all ties with the Logan family. What happens to Logan Innovations, whether it sinks or swims, will be of no concern to me. And you should move out, too. If she loves being a big sister so much, she can have Dylan as her new brother. Leo replied instantly. On it, bro. I've been wanting to move out for ages. I can't stand watching their little sibling act another day. It makes me want to puke. I officially hired a lawyer and filed for divorce. 3 days later, Victoria was served. Leo told me that when she saw the court summons, she just froze, then started frantically calling me. My phone rang nonstop all day. I rejected every call. Then came the texts, one after another. Ethan, let's just talk this out. Please don't drag this through the courts. I admit I was wrong. I'm willing to change. Just give me one more chance. Ethan, I can't lose you. Please, I'm begging you, withdraw the lawsuit. I didn't bother reading them closely. I just deleted the entire thread. The next evening, I got home from work to find Victoria standing at the gate to my parents' driveway. She was holding a fancy jewelry box. The moment she saw me, she rushed over. Ethan, I had this watch custom made for you. It's worth $800,000. She opened the box to reveal a watch glittering with diamonds. I stared at her coldly. Victoria, do you really think you can buy me? No, I just wanted to show you I'm sincere. Sincere? I laughed. Your sincerity is throwing money at me to prove I'm worth more than Dylan. My dad got out of the car and his face soured when he saw her. You have the nerve to show your face here? Get lost. Dad, I know I was wrong. I really do. Please just give me one more chance. Victoria started to kneel. My dad slapped her across the face. Get out. My son is not a toy you can pick up and throw away whenever you feel like it. The force of the slap sent her stumbling sideways. She didn't dare fight back, just looked at me, her eyes filled with pain. Ethan. I walked into the house without a second glance. 9. Over the next few days, Victoria started pulling strings, trying to pressure me. Mark called. Ethan, Tori reached out. She wants me to convince you to drop the suit. She says she doesn't want a divorce. And what did you say? I asked. I told her I wished her and Dylan a lifetime of happiness together, so the rest of the world could be free of their drama. Haha, you're a good man, Mark. Rachel also called, telling me Victoria was willing to sign over her entire 30% stake in the company if I would just drop the lawsuit. I scoffed. Those shares were built on my work in the first place. Now she's using them as a bargaining chip. A week later, Leo rushed over to my office. Bro, my sister's in the hospital again. Her stomach. The doctors say it's really bad this time. They might have to remove part of it. I kept reading the document in front of me, my face impassive. Okay, aren't you going to see her? The doctor said she's in a really dangerous situation. Leo said, clearly conflicted. I put down the pen and looked at him. Leo, I did care about your sister's health. Past tense. Now, whether she lives or dies is none of my business. Leo bit his lip. Then, can you at least give me the tonic recipe? My mom can make it for her. I tore the pages from my notebook and handed them to him. Here, whoever wants to make it can make it, but I'm never going back. Leo took the recipe. Bro, thank you. Don't thank me. This isn't for her. It's because I don't want to see you caught in the middle. 3 days later, Leo was back. Apparently, when Victoria found out I'd given him the recipe, she took it as a sign that I still had feelings for her and sent him with a message. My sister says she knows she was wrong. She's willing to cut off all contact with Dylan and promises to love only you for the rest of her life, Leo recited, an awkward expression on his face. It was obvious he was sick of her too. I sneered. A little late for regrets, isn't it? Maybe she should have thought about the consequences before she decided to cheat. Leo, give her a message from me. I stood up and said, slowly and clearly, some people, once you lose them, they're gone for good. I thought that would be the end of it, but then Dylan himself contacted me. Ethan Cole, can we meet? I glanced at the time. 3 o'clock. Phoenix. The coffee shop on Main. 1 hour. I got there early, picked a seat by the window, and ordered a latte. Dylan showed up late, looking haggard, his eyes puffy and red. He sat down and got straight to the point. How long are you going to keep tormenting Tori? She's already been through so much. Can't you just leave her alone? I stirred my coffee without looking up. You've got it backwards, Dylan. She's the one refusing to sign the divorce papers, not the other way around. You know she can't live without you, and you're torturing her on purpose. His voice grew sharp. Why can't you just be the bigger man and let us be happy? She's not even talking to me anymore because she's so desperate to win you back. I finally looked up, a cold smile on my face. Let you be happy. Dylan, you have an incredible amount of nerve. Why in the world would I step aside for the homewrecker who destroyed my marriage? I'm not a homewrecker. Dylan shot to his feet. Tori and I grew up together. You're the one who came later. Oh, we're playing the first come, first serve game, are we? I pulled out my wallet, took out our marriage certificate, and slapped it on the table. Read it and weep, Dylan. This is a marriage license. I am her legal husband. And you? I let my eyes drift over him with theatrical disdain. To put it politely, are the other man. To put it clinically, you're the object of an extramarital affair. And to be brutally honest, you're just a pathetic leech. 10. Dylan's face turned beet red. But we've known each other since we were kids. He stammered. And that gives you special privileges? I leaned back, a smirk playing on my lips. Dylan, let me ask you a few questions. What questions? He asked warily. First, do you know why Victoria is so desperately fighting this divorce? I set down my cup. It's not because of love. It's because without me, she is nothing. Dylan stared. What are you talking about? Second, do you have any idea how Logan Innovations was built? I laughed. The core technology is mine. The startup capital came from my family. The key clients were introduced by my father. Without me, Victoria couldn't successfully run a corner store. Third, do you know how serious her stomach condition is? Without my tonic, she ends up in the hospital every other month. Do you know how to brew herbal remedies? Do you understand therapeutic diets? My barrage of questions left Dylan stunned and speechless. And let me ask you this, I pressed on. In all the time you two were getting close, did she ever once mention leaving me? Did she ever talk about marrying you? Or was she just enjoying your adoration and letting you wait on her hand and foot? Dylan's face grew darker. She said she would handle things at home. Handle things at home? I nearly laughed out loud. Dylan, you are impressively naive. What she meant was getting rid of me, the inconvenience, while continuing to enjoy all the perks I provide, with your cheap worship as a bonus. Last question, I said, standing up to look down on him. If Victoria really does go bankrupt, if she's sick all the time with no one to care for her, would you still want her? Dylan was completely silent. You see, Dylan, I continued, why do you think she's pushing you away now? It's simple. She's terrified of losing my money and my technology. The person she loves most isn't me, and it certainly isn't you. It's herself and her bottom line. I paused, leaning over the table slightly. Actually, I should be thanking you. Thanking me for what? Dylan asked, his expression one of genuine confusion. For helping me see Victoria for who she really is. I straightened up. Without you, I might have grown old before realizing exactly what kind of person I married. So, in a way, you did me a huge favor. I gave him one last look. Dylan, once this divorce is final, you'll realize that the prize you were fighting so hard for is nothing but an empty, worthless shell. And then you'll finally understand what it feels like to have it all turn to dust in your hands. I wish you and your bankrupt sugar mama a lifetime of happiness, I said with a final, cutting smile, and walked away. As I reached the door, I heard a choked sob from behind me. It was the sound of Dylan Vance, completely breaking down. 11. 3 months later, the court finalized my divorce from Victoria. Our assets were divided according to the law. I retained the patents to all my technology, leaving Victoria with a hollowed-out company. The moment I stepped out of the courthouse, I felt a lightness I hadn't experienced in years. A text from Leo came in. Bro, congrats on your freedom. By the way, Dylan got fired from school. Official reason was unprofessional conduct. I replied, he got what he deserved. And don't forget who's your bro. And get this, he and my sister are completely done. Leo continued. Her health is shot. The company is going under. And I guess Dylan decided he wasn't interested in a broke, sick girlfriend. So he dumped her. Now she's just rattling around in that big house all alone, like a ghost. A week later, Mr. and Mrs. Logan came to see me. Ethan, Mrs. Logan said, her eyes red-rimmed. I know our Tori wronged you, but for the sake of the years you had together, can't you find it in your heart to help her? Her stomach is getting worse, and the company is on the verge of collapse. Mr. Logan sighed. I looked at them calmly. Mr. and Mrs. Logan, Victoria and I are divorced. Her life is no longer my concern. But Ethan, You can't be so heartless. Mrs. Logan reached for my arm, trying the emotional blackmail route. I stepped back. The heartless one was Victoria, not me. When she chose to betray our marriage, she should have thought about a day like this. Besides, I added with a cold smile, weren't you two big fans of Dylan Vance? You said he was so generous and thoughtful, a real good man. Why don't you ask him to take care of her now? Her parents flushed with shame and eventually left, defeated. Before they did, I spoke to Leo. Leo, it's time for you to get out of there, too. I just bought a new place, and there's a guest suite with your name on it. Leo's eyes lit up. For real, bro? Of course, I said, clapping him on the shoulder. You'll always be my brother. But Victoria is no longer my anything. 3 months after that, Logan Innovations officially declared bankruptcy and was taken over by its creditors. My new company, however, was thriving. With my core technology and strong client relationships, it quickly became a leader in the industry. One day, Leo mentioned, "Hey, my sister came to see me again. Said she knows she messed up and wanted to know if I could get her in touch with you." I didn't look up from my work. Tell her we're strangers now. She also said she'd do anything to make it up to you. Be your servant for life. I have no need for a servant who is disloyal and easily distracted, I said, signing the last document and looking up at Leo. Late at night, I stood at the floor-to-ceiling window in my bedroom, looking out at the quiet garden. I once thought Victoria was my entire world. Now I realize that without her, my world was infinitely better. Some people are just passing through your life. When they leave, you don't have to look back. My real life, the one that truly belonged to me, was just getting started.